Hello, 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 how are you? This is Els coming from Bemis Crafty Corner, and I have something very different today. I'm not even going to show it to you before we start. We're just going to go over what you're going to need to complete the project, and we're going to get into it, okay? So, first thing you're going to want is some Tyvek, not a lot. You really only need a piece that's about 8 by 3, give or take. This one's like 8.5. 8 by 3 works. 2.5. So that'll work. You want a piece of chipboard midweight, not too heavy. I'm going to be making 10. You can make as many or as few as you want, but you're going to want, for each page that you're going to put in, you're going to want one sheet of 8.5 by 11 scrapbook paper, or whatever kind of paper you like, that's white on the back, okay? You don't want anything with a design. Now, if it has a color, you know, like, sometimes you get these where they have the green leaf here, and then the other side of it is like a really light green or something. That's okay if that's, you know, if that works for you. You're gonna want your scoreboard, scoring tools, a pair of scissors, a ruler, some ephemera, and one scrap, decent scrap of like some craft paper, something a little heavier, you know, than your normal scrapbook paper. So you could use just regular cardstock for this if you want to. Recollections 110 pound would be perfect. Okay, so that's pretty much our set. You know, glue, tape, those types of things. You're also going to want your awl. You're going to want a needle and thread, because we are going to bind this, and you're going to want a cutter that's going to cut your chipboard. So, that being said, I'm going to get everything out of the way, and I'm going to come back and we're going to start on the cover first. You're also going to want some paper to cover your cover, so however you want to cover your cover. I'm going to be doing this much the way that I do the corset bindings, so we're going to be wrapping the chipboard and then putting in an end paper. So keep that in mind when you're selecting your papers, okay? I'm going to clear this and I'll be right back. So we're going to cut 4 pieces of chipboard today, okay? The first 2 we're going to cut are going to be 6 3/4 by 3 3/4. So my chipboard is 14 inches long, so I'm going to cut 3 3/4. Now, you can do this in your trimmer if you want to. For me, it's just easier to do it on the board. And then I'm going to cut a second one at 3 3/4. Okay, and then I'm going to cut 2 more pieces, and these are going to be 3 3/4 by 1 inch. So I'm just going to cut a 1 inch strip. Get this lined up. Just a little bit off, so I'm going to clean it up. Then I'm going to cut my 1 inch strip. And then I'm going to cut this down to 2 pieces that are 3 3/4. So there's one, and then we're going to cut the other one. Now, as always, all of the directions are going to be in the description box below, including all of the measurements. Okay? So that's going to be it for our chipboard. And this is going to constitute our cover. So we just want to make sure that, you know, everything's nice and lined up, everything works. Okay. Now we're going to cut our paper that's going to go on this. So I'm going to get this out of the way and bring in the paper. Okay? Be right back. So we're going to cut some paper to cover our chipboard. So the first thing we're going to do is cut 2 pieces that are 8 inches by 4.5. Now, if your paper is directional, mind your direction. So 8 by 4.5. And we're going to do 2 at this size. And then we're going to do 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 2. Okay? Sorry, wrong paper. And those 2 I'm going to do out of what I'm also going to be using for my inside. So let me just cut this down. So I'm going to go 4.5 by 2. Four and a half. Got to go a little bit longer. There we go. 4.5 by 2. You could actually make this 4.5 by 2.5 if you wanted to. Because you can always take away, but you can't add back. So we'll do 2.5 just for, you know, safety's sake. Okay. And then we're going to cut the inside covers, which are going to be 6.5 by 3.5. So let's go to 6.5. We'll do a 3.5 and a 3.5. All right, so that is basically all of our paper and all of our cutting. And so I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to bring the chipboard back in, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do the covering. Get out your glue and your tape, and we will get this covered. Be right back. So we're going to bring in our paper pieces. The pieces that we have that are 6.5 by 3.5, we're going to set those off to the side, and we're going to start by gluing our little pieces of chipboard down to our small pieces of paper, and then the larger pieces of chipboard we're going to glue in the center of the larger pieces of chipboard. So whoop. And I am going to use the bigger bottle because it flows better. I'm just going to put this in the center, just like that. And then, where's my smooshy thing? I need my smooshy thing. Smooshy thing. And then I'm just going to kind of smoosh. Alright, so I'm going to do both of these. And once I have them both done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the little ones and the big one. So this one, you see I left it a little wide, so I can trim a little of this off if I need to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle these. So I'm going to cut into the corner and over, in towards the corner and over, in, over, in, over. And then I'm just going to fold these around this piece, and I'm going to glue it down. Now you could use tape on this if you want to. It is entirely up to you. But, you know, I like my glue. What can I say? And this part isn't going to show, so it doesn't have to look perfect, okay? This part's not going to show at all. The outside's going to show, but not this part. So if it's a little mooky, it's okay. So we're going to do that on both of the small pieces, and then we're going to repeat that process on the larger one. We're going to wedge in and wedge up. Wedge in towards the corner, and then wedge out, wedge in towards the corner and out, in towards the corner and out. Okay, and then we're going to do the whole same process again where we're going to glue this down. The only difference on this one is once we get this one glued down, that's when we're going to use our other papers. So glue it up, press it down. Same thing over here. And then the ends. That in. This one in. And then you're going to stop. Okay? So we're going to do the other cover and the other piece like this, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so for the next part, we're going to cut some Tyvek. And we want it to just be just inside of the edge here. So what I'm going to do is just cut two pieces that are this big. Tyvek is slippery. Okay. And this is going to become basically our hinge, okay? So we're going to put these two pieces together, almost touching. You literally just want a whisper between them, all right? About the width of a ruler in between, all right? That's all you want. So we're going to take our Tyvek. We're going to put some glue on this end. Now, do keep in mind that you want this underneath this. So, if you need to adjust, you know, cut this down, you should do that before you glue. Okay, so I like this. This length works for me. So I am going to put some glue on my Tyvek. And then I'm going to put glue side up. I'm going to take this piece first, and I'm going to put it just there. I'm going to show you the other side. See, it's right at the edge. And then I'm going to take this, a little smooch there, and I'm going to line it up, giving myself just the tiniest little whisper between the two. Okay, and I'm going to show this to you, so give me a second. See that? It's just a tiny little crack. Okay, I'm going to clamp this down so that it dries, and I'm going to do the other side. All right, and then once this is good and dry, I'll be back and we will work through the rest. Okay? Okay, so while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to get out our paper. And if it's a directional, we want to figure out which side is going to be on our hinge, which is to the left. So, let me get this a little better under the, there we go. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to score the first one at 7/8 of an inch. That's one mark before the 1. And then at 1 7/8. So, that's one mark before the 2. Okay? And then we're going to turn with these scores at the top. Then we're going to score at 1.5. Five. And 8. Okay? So you should have little box, long box, little box, long box, little box, long box, little box, long box. Okay? And then we're going to do some folding. So we're going to fold on our score lines. And then we're going to do a little trimming. So, we're going to remove this box and this box, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay? So, make sure you have nice straight folds and creases, and then you're going to start taking out those boxes. Okay? So, we are not doing any wedging. So on this one, we're going to go straight up the inside of the crease of the score line. To this score line. And then the inside of the score line to that score line. Inside of the score line to that score line. And inside of the score line to remove that box. So what you have left is a piece that looks like this. Okay? So you have a little double box here, and a box and a box and a box and a box. That's what you want. So do that with all your paper, and then we'll be back. So these are all folded, and I'm just kind of setting them off to the side for the moment, and we're going to look at the next part of this, and that is to reinforce the paper, you know, where the hinges are going to be. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of craft paper and I've cut it down to 3 1/4 inches, which is just a little bit shy. It's just a little bit shorter than what this is. And then I'm going to cut this to 7/8 of an inch. And I'm going to make as many of these as I have papers. Okay. So now I have these and I have these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these in here. Just like that. Okay? So I'm going to leave you to do that. And if you want to round the corners here and here, this is a good time to do so. You can go ahead and round those corners. I'll be right back. All right, so now that we've glued those in, I have put some clamps on here and just set these to the side to dry. And we're going to finish up our covers. And to do that, all we're going to do is glue these down. If you want to ink, now would be a good time. Okay, because you can ink the outside later, but if you're going to ink, you need to ink this now. All right, so let's get a little ink on here. And at this point, I'm just going to put a little bit on just to get rid of this like white edge. I'm not really worried about inking the paper per se. I just want to get rid of this edge. Okay. Now, once these dry, if you want to ink these, you should do that as well, okay? So I'm going to get these glued down, and then I'm going to be back, and I'm going to show you how we're going to put this all together, okay? So okay, so we have everything glued up. We have everything that I want to ink inked. I have everything trimmed that needs to be trimmed, and I have everything set and ready to go. So there's only one way to do this, and that is all at the same time. So you're going to cut a piece that is 3 3/4 inches. 1 7/8 is your midpoint. You're going to draw a line there. Then you're going to come in 5/8 of an inch on either side, and then 1/2 an inch down the middle. And that is going to give you your spots. And then you're going to take your pages, your cover, your bottom. Make sure that your pages are nice and straight. And you want these to be just the fold on these, just a little bit past the fold on the book. On the hard part, on the hard cover, okay? So got that. I'm going to put this one on top, line everything up, and then I'm going to hold the whole thing together with some clamps, lots of clamps. Okay. Then we're going to take this, put it on our end, and we're going to clamp. There is really no other way to do this, okay? So I'm going to get out my awl. And I'm going to go down into this. Whew. All right, that's one. 2 to go. We're going to do this one. Helps if you wiggle it. Okay, that's 2. One more. Right here. Not the crafter, somebody with carpal tunnel. Not there yet. A little bit more. Ah, made it. All right, I have 3 holes. Now, if I really want to, you know, kind of reinforce this, I can go back in the other way, this way, and that will help me to open these up just a little bit. And make it easier. And now I can see light through them. Okay. So for the next part, we're going to get out our needle, some thread, we don't need a lot, just a little bit. Let me get this needle threaded. Okay, then I'm going to take these 2 clamps off without removing the other clamps. These are still holding it all together. All right. 3-point pamphlet down in the middle. Up in either hole, doesn't matter. Come all the way over to the bottom. Okay, come through there, and then come back up through that middle. And you want 1 piece on one side and 1 piece on the other. Okay, now you don't have anything here to draw on, so you really need to kind of pull these and tie this tight. All right. Nice square knot. And you know, if you want to, you could do this twice, you know, do 2 holes, 2 sets of holes. That's entirely up to you. Put that away before I stab myself, because we all know I will. Okay, now, in here you have your papers, and if you open this, you have a place that you can write a beautiful letter. Close it up. You can tape this shut. You can close it with a paper clip. You can decorate this any way that you want. You can add to this. You have nice hinges here, so you can get things moved. You can ink this up. You can add washi tape. You can do whatever you want to this. Okay? So there they are. That's it. That's my little project for today. I know this one was different and it was a little bit complicated, so if you have any questions, You can put those in the description box, or, you know, message me or email me, and I will be happy to answer the questions for you and help you out, even if I have to set up a private live and you and I will go in and we'll look at it, okay? Now, if you're new here and you haven't done so already, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Like me, ring my bell, share me with all your friends. Then your friends can be my friends, and my friends can be your friends, and our friends can get to be friends. And before you know it, we have a giant crafting community. I go live on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 11, 12, and 1 across the country. 8 o'clock in Hawaii. And I post videos on Mondays and Wednesdays. I have two things going on in 2022, the first of which is my 12 of 22 journal challenge. And for a full explanation of what that is and how it works, go ahead down to the description box below. You'll see there's a link. Take that link, go on over and read up all about it and listen to what the rules are. And I'm also doing free classes in 2022. So if you would like to participate in that, the best way to get that information would be to make sure that when you ring that bell, you select all so that you get all of the notifications on when those classes take place. Until I see you again, stay safe. Bye-bye.